2012. And personally, I can easily look at the macro. I am continually surprised by how subtle the micro is. Right? So this is about how you show up in your day. It's how you talk to people. It's how, like, oh shit, I'm triggered. Okay, then go get a session. You know what I mean? Like, the nuances of showing up in the micro and applying it to the macro. Because I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I've seen it as the macro, and then we'll just react to it. It's not like that.
It's not like that.
We are the macro.
Yeah, and
it's in our living room.
Exactly. Like I've been talking a lot about how this year is just like it's new in numerology, symbolically, however you want to call it. In and of itself, it's the year of mastery, and what this means is mastering yourself, your place in the macro. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Master. And when you're talking about mastery, you're talking about, in order to master something, it's all the details. It's all the things. In order to become good at something, it's like you get to know the ins and outs of that thing.
Yeah. It's like when you become an expert in something, it takes 10,000 hours.
Right.
That's made of individual hours.
Individual things. And then for that, it takes a tweaking of your own habits. It takes a tweaking of your, it takes every part of you being into the mastery of that. Mm-hmm. And this is the year of mastery. So what is that really telling us? That's like, master the fuck out of yourself, your role, who you are, and make sure that everything is supporting that in your surroundings, and make sure that that you are supporting that in your actions. Make sure that you're up to par, make sure that your health, that your body, your mind, your soul, like the whole nine, like this is the time to master that. And we're all feeling it.
And so the pile up in Capricorn, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's Saturn and Pluto and Sun and Venus. I mean, like, it's like everybody gather around in Capricorn. That makes everything feel really serious. Well, I started to say it's not playtime, but North Node is in Leo. North Node is in Leo. So no matter what we go through, it has to be that we're not giving up in, like, the joy of our life, of following our heart and aiming towards what lights us up, right? We can't forget that.
Right.
North Node won't let us.
And it's kind of like what I said in the beginning, I think before even anyone got on, where I was talking about how people are seeing it in areas that they didn't think they'd see it in. They see it in, which it is like that. Like, well, no, you need to go have fun. That's like when Matthew had that pop-up yesterday, and I'm just like waiting for my Pisces, and the whole Pisces message was, get the fuck out and go interact with real people.
Was it really?
Yeah. I was like, oh. I can't take my laptop with me.
Or should I pray? I'm not supposed to pray.
I'm not supposed to. Really? Is that it? and that's it. It's just like, get out and go do something outside of, work and healing, work and healing. It's like, go do something.
Okay, so let's do the astro. You want to?
Yeah, sure. But you need to introduce yourself first.
Oh, you go first.
Why?
I don't know, because you always do. We can't change things up. What are you talking about?
Darn it. I'm kind of hoping to go second this time.
Nope, you're going first.
Okay, so hi, everybody. I am Darling from xoxdarling.com. You can also find me on facebook.com/The Darling Castaneda. You could find me at facebook.com/xoxdarling. That's my page. The Darling Castaneda is my personal page, which is where I post daily, the Raw Mornings post, and give kind of intuitive feels on what's going on that day. You can find me at Instagram. My handle is at xox_darling. But everything's on my website. And so you can book individual sessions there. You can check out my mastermind mentorship. Sorry, not mastermind. That's coming though. My mentorship there. And there's tons to look at in there. So go take a look.
You just did a revamp on services, right? I mean,
I did.
You got new stuff.
I have a whole lot of new stuff. So I have theta healing sessions available now.
Yay!
The theta healing sessions are available now on top of the regular intuitive sessions. And then there's a hybrid session. Isn't that cool? So it's like, instead of a 60 minutes, it's 90 minutes. And we go through the intuitive, but then we finish it off with the healing at the end of it. So that's super cool. There's couple sessions now in there.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
That's new. And then my year mastermind. I keep saying mastermind. There's something. My mentorship.
I guess you're ready to launch.
The Mastery 2018 mentorship is there, and signups close in like a week or two. So that's cool.
Awesome.
And this is Susan.
Yep, I'm Susan Grace. I'm on Facebook and Instagram too. On Facebook, I do daily reading of the astrology for the collective. I'm at susangrace.org, where you can book sessions with me. And I haven't decided yet until just now. I was thinking, should I run a sale? I'm going to run a sale. I'm going to run a sale from this new moon in Capricorn through to the full moon after the eclipses. And where's that? Virgo. So March 1st. So from today until March 1st, I'm going to do 20% off of intensives, because we're about to go into eclipse season. So I'll announce that on Facebook and Instagram after we finish here. We'll do 20% off for, people who are hanging around last eclipse season. Intensives were 500 and I took them down 30%. So that was 350. And now intensives regularly are 450 and I'm taking them down 20%. It's roughly the same. So it's about the same kind of sale that we did last eclipse season. And last eclipse season, I ran it for 3 months and I was hammered. I mean, I was fried by the end. I was booked solid and waitlisted every week. So I'm not going to run it that long this time because I don't want to lose my mind. But it'll be waitlisted. So if you've been thinking about doing an intensive with me, I'll post the code later today. And then people who do recurring intensives with me, I have a bunch of people who just keep going and going and going and going for years. You should get your next bundle during this sale when it's 20% off. So anyway, susangrace.org. But I also do tune-ups for people who've had readings with me before. If you hit a wall, you can get an hour with me to get caught up on the astro. And then, of course, natal chart readings are on there too. What's happening?
What's up?
It's a lot. I mean, there's a lot, right? Yeah. I've been watching the chart for this new moon for a while, for last few weeks. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know about this.
That's like, I don't think anybody was on before when you're just like, so, eclipse season's coming. And I'm like, ugh.
Like we just had it 5 minutes ago.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not over that. I'm still not over. Last year. I mean, do you remember? First of all, last year's eclipse season was for both of us
in the fall. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
are you thinking about spring? Well, what happened? I don't remember spring. What happened in spring?
You don't remember spring?
Oh,
how could you not remember spring?
Yeah, I was like
everything fell apart.
I could faceplate it. It was awful.
We both did.
Yeah.
We both took a face plant last spring. That was
And then by fall we were like, let's do it better this time. How about that?
Hey, here's the plan.
We're gonna calm down. Oh.
But looking back, like how we've come so far, like so all of us. Like, I mean, I look at my clients and my friends and just the people around me, we've come a long way in just a year.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just cheers to that first before we go into like what's going to fucking happen right now? We're all here, alive, happy. Mm-hmm. Okay. So,
I guess it's arguable, but I would say this is probably the biggest eclipse season that we've had in all of our lives so far.
No pressure.
I mean, I don't mean it as pressure. It's just that there's such big shifts coming in the next 5 months, and these eclipses. I mean, the shifts have already started with Saturn going into Capricorn, and now for the next 2.5 years, we're on approach to Saturn crossing Pluto. And at that time, Jupiter will be in here too. And we haven't had Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto in Capricorn in like what, fucking 800 years? I mean, it's been a long time. So this is a really big eclipse season, and we're in it now because it's so the new moon leading up to the eclipses. Then we have the 2 eclipses and the full moon after. So if you think of the eclipses as the first one, the lunar eclipse on January 31st opens the door, and then the second one on February 15th, the solar eclipse closes the door. This new moon in Capricorn tonight we're standing on the doorstep. So we're about to open the door, right? The new moon tonight in Capricorn is at 26. Yes, I did it. 26 Capricorn. It's at 26 Capricorn. It's sextiling into the trine between Jupiter and Mars in Scorpio and Chiron and Pisces. So what that means is that the trine between the 2 waters, between Scorpio and Pisces, are working into the new moon. And here's what it means. Jupiter and Mars in Scorpio. Jupiter going through Scorpio is saying, don't look away, stay right here. Whatever truth is coming up, there's a gift for you in it, which is hard for a lot of us to do if you've been alive long enough, because for the last 40 years, we've had gnarly transits in Scorpio that have been intense. It's been like ripping us apart and making us work and shocking us. It's been doing that for a long time. And now Jupiter is saying, stay here, look at whatever's coming up, because it's much easier to look at the truth than it is to deal with shadows that you can't get to, that can pop out at you. You want everything to come out, bring everything up to the surface. And Mars means it's going to be very intense and makes us want to hold our boundaries. There's a difference between boundaries and walls. You don't want to lead with walls where nothing can get in, and you're not close to people, and you're not talking, and the truth doesn't have a way to resonate. You want to lead with boundaries. Boundaries are a line that you keep in place to maintain your own sense of integrity and emotional well-being. Emotional because it's water, right? So a boundary in this climate would be, I don't know, let's say somebody pops out and says, I'm a liar. And be like, okay, well, I'm glad to know that now rather than later. And you just deal with it and don't freak out and break all the dishes. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Coffee.
Yay. Right. So Scorpio, that's in a trine to Chiron and Pisces. Chiron has been in Pisces for 8 years. I think that's right. And it's been trying to heal all of us into coming out of our suffering and not identifying with our pain anymore, releasing us from our karma so that we can show up healed, not wounded all the time. And so between the intensity of Scorpio and Chiron and Pisces, it's, first of all, handle your triggers. If you get triggered, go get a session, don't freak out and take it out on everybody. All right. But between those two, that's how you maintain control in an environment in Capricorn whenever old rules and old structures are being dismantled by Saturn. Okay. So it's everyday life, it's work, it's relationships, it's the structure of our government. I mean, it's everything.
In case you haven't noticed.
Yeah, it's everything that's under any sort of umbrella of suppression through fear is no longer supported, whether that's in your relationships or like how the world is run. So when that's being dismantled by energies that are bigger than us, it can feel like you're losing control and you want to exert control in ways that are reactive and they go too far. And we don't want to do that. You maintain control by holding your own boundaries for your own well-being and then others also. And knowing that we're not meant to roll around in suffering. When suffering, remember that when suffering pops up, we say, I said we're done. Okay, we are no longer in the suffering business. When suffering comes up and says, the awful's probably coming back, we're going to go, no. I said we're done and I meant it. And we reject it. Reject engaging with that poison, that we don't live there anymore. And then the new moon is squaring into Uranus and Aries, and that could make things chaotic, but whatever.
But whatever. I mean, fuck it.
Might as well add that in. Whatever.
Well, I mean, it's self-explanatory, right? With everything else that you said, like previous to that, it's bound to be chaotic. Like, it's kind of like, that's why it's like,
well, we've been walking towards this for a long time, right?
Yep.
And I've been talking about how the mechanism of suppression through fear, that's any structures that are keeping us in unlocked cages because we think that's the only protection we have. Walking outside of those unlocked cages and putting our trust into something bigger than us, way bigger than us, like the greater force of life is what we trust now. And that takes a very high level of trust that feels like risk that can hurt you. And it's not, it just feels that way. So we're going to have to trust that we've been set up and that we're led and that we're capable and prepared to handle any kind of shift however it wants to go down. And that means, we've talked about this too, it means that we're being led by the goddess now. Regulus has gone into Virgo, and her battle cry is that through sacred union, we have common purpose. All relationships are leveling up for those who are ready and aren't resisting. And we're building webs out here. And the common purpose that we have is liberation. Everyone who's ready, everyone who's willing to leap gets to come out of their unlocked cages, and we live on our own terms, under our own rules, under our own ways of setting up our lives that work well for us and not necessarily what's been done historically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that this is, and I have been taking this year, like, I mean, it just started, but like, I'm looking at this year as massive, like very, very, very important, because number one, that's one thing I noticed right off the bat. All of my clients, you asked me earlier a question and I hadn't thought about this one, but all of my clients, if there was one common denominator for all of them, was fear. All of them, hands down, fear. We had to literally dig through where this fear is coming from and reprogram the fear in them, because it was legit. And my biggest advice, and I'm pretty sure that some great person said this before and it was quoted, but I was told this by someone in my life. Best advice I've ever gotten, one of the best advice I've ever gotten, was go where the fear is. Always. And that always seemed like, what the fuck are you talking about? But it's been so legit that it doesn't fail me, that every single time I find myself afraid of something, if I go to it, like, the other side is exactly what I had been wanting. And so everybody that's been coming to me with this fear, I'm just like, you go where that fear is. And it's always fear of themselves, their own purpose, their own greatness, their own expansiveness, fear of melting into the greater, right? They feel safe in the cage. Like you said, they feel safe in that cage, but they're also uncomfortable. And I'm just like, uncomfortable, or should I say, well, it's comfortable because they're getting fed and they're doing this, but they're hearing their call just outside of that cage. And that fear is super, super paralyzing. And I feel like this year, as soon as we came into it, it's been bigger. The call has been bigger. As you said, everything that's happening right now, all of the breaking down is enhancing that fear. People are just like, okay, see that? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm afraid of. That's not the point. That's not the point. What you're afraid of is your own greatness that is a necessary piece, a necessary component to the rising that's happening outside of the collapse of whatever the society, structures, etc. Whatever it may be, the rising that is happening, your place and your role in that is so important, that going past that fear and taking the necessary steps is super big. Can I use you as an example?
Please.
Without going into detail.
Yeah.
So last year, when you went through like your really big face plant that you mentioned, that was a big thing for you. It was that fear, and you were paralyzed, absolutely paralyzed. And I remember having this conversation with you where I said, you can't be afraid. You step into your purpose and you live that out. And as you start to live that out, because I remember telling you, your new life is going to come when you are currently practicing how you're going to handle that life. And you did it. And holy shit, like, right? Like, look at yourself on the other side of that, where it's like, when you start mastering who you are and living that way, regardless of what you see around you. I remember one of the things that you're just like, I don't fucking see it. I don't fucking see it. And I was like, your thing. And I'm like, it's gonna come. You just have to keep on going. And you're there.
And I've had several rounds of feeling paralyzed in the last few weeks. And first of all, I want to speak to everyone with heavy water. Whenever the collective is going through a shift, you got to pull back your water. And if you need to down yourself for a couple days, go ahead and do it, because maintaining our own energy is what comes first. It's not just with clients. Me too. I've been paralyzed by it too, because everything feels so big. That you helped me with this a few weeks ago, where I assume when something's so big, it's that something awful is coming. And you're like, wait. Maybe you deserve some good things too. And I'm like, what?
I do?
Wow.
It's the little things. Like, I love it.
But I think that I'm learning, along with everybody that I talk to, is that we can't handle something so big that it's overwhelming and we quit. We have to be present.
Yep.
Present. All of the pile up in Capricorn, right? So it's what? It's Saturn, Black Moon, Lilith, Mercury, Pluto, Sun, Moon, Venus, all of it, running through all the way through Capricorn. Capricorn is aspecting us in generational kind of ways right now. So people who were born with Pluto and Virgo are trining into it. People with Pluto and Libra are squaring into it. This is your generation, people with Pluto and Scorpio are sextiling into it. And so there's something for each generation to teach all of us about how to handle the big shift that's happening in Capricorn, right? So the Pluto and Virgo generation, their whole thing is being present. Show up. Be here right now in your everyday life, and be willing to put in the work of whatever you need to do to turn wrongs into rights, to turn hurt into healing, to be here and participate and not give up. Because when you don't give up, you keep showing up, it pays off. It shifts reality. It shifts life into a new direction. But you got to be here. You can't escape. You got to be here right now. Pluto in Libra generation is, you are not in control of everything. You're not. So you can't lead with walls and say, I'm too wounded, don't come near me. Or that's mine, don't touch it. Or surround all relationships with, nobody can get in here and nobody can get out. It's like nobody can breathe that way when you do that. And so we have to learn to open up in Libra in order to let the dynamics of relationships to change in different ways. We show up differently in relationships, and it changes the way our entire lives are set up. Open up, open up, open up. We treat the space between us in relationships as sacred, and then we just keep going and allow everyone to breathe. We're free. And then your generation is about truth and boundaries. And you guys are just now starting to get your voice. I hope that you'll listen to the generations prior to you that says, listen, be willing to put in the work, listen, look for peace, listen, look for flow. But you guys are going to start bringing up a lot of truths in the world and in your everyday life, in your relationships. You're going to have to maintain your boundaries, first of all, with yourselves. And maintain the lesson of Libra of, we're sovereign first, and then we engage in sacred union. And so you've got to hold your boundaries about that.
Right.
And you've got to be willing to look at the truth. We always want to look at the truth. If we don't look at the truth, that's whenever things get dangerous. Whenever we're only going by what we want to see and nothing else. Well, then that's whenever something's going to bite you in the ass.
Right.
So all of that is how we handle those 3 generations. That's how we handle a shifting in the way that the world in our lives is set up. Be willing to show up, be willing to allow freedom and peace to reign within your own sovereignty, and be willing to look at the truth and hold your own boundaries. All 3 happening at the same time. I like thinking of that because whenever with Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn, we're not going to be able to control everything. And the mechanisms of control that are already in place, they will flail. They will try to divide us. They will try to make us afraid. They'll try to make us reconvince us that we need to stay in our unlocked cages. And in order to maintain our own sovereignty and freedom from that, we're going to have to maintain our presence, our sovereignty, and building webs together, our own boundaries, and be willing to look at all of the truth. All 3 of those feed into how to handle a shifting in Capricorn control.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember if it was last fall or the one before that or whatnot. Whenever we were talking about the buckets situation.
One before.
The one before. Imagine that.
So 16.
Imagine that. Oh, we've been together for a long time. But I remember when we were talking about buckets and, we were talking a lot at that point, and now we're seeing why, of building webs and all of that. We made that crucial point that yes, we build webs, but you have to be able to maintain, to hold your weight while at the same time building webs. So yes, we get help if we kind of like, whoa, okay, we get our help. We have our people, we have our web, we have each other. But that sovereignty and that control, I don't like to say control, but control of self, that self-control, that self kind of awareness, and just being,
it's being the boss of your own life.
Yeah. Being your own boss and knowing and having that awareness. Here we go again, mastering of the self, just being able to know in every area, this is where I stand. This is what I love. This is what I, cannot put up with. These are my boundaries. These are my everything. Just having that self-awareness is really freaking key right now, because everything else, like you said, can flail. It can kind of waver a bit.
Well, when whatever's in control so far, keeping you in a cage, all right? When it goes, you should be afraid. We have to be able to go, no. No.
That's exactly how I'm going to say it.
I just want to, let me side note. If you guys are in chat, above where you chat, there's an option to do all panelists and attendees, or all panelists. If you do just all panelists, it just goes to Darlene and I, and we're not monitoring that while we're talking. But all panelists and attendees will get to everybody in the room. All right, so we're in basically eclipse season. So the way that I read is I ask, okay, so why? Why is this setup happening to get us ready for the eclipse season? And I think that we're going to have to hold this note of we are the boss of our own micro lives. Don't worry about the macro. Don't worry about that. Maintain your own integrity, your own boundaries. Know that you're no longer in the suffering business, and you're absolutely in control of how you're going to handle whatever happens in the macro. Then the eclipses, January 31st, and we'll talk about this more as we get into them. So the eclipses are called the bringers of change, which means they bring change that we didn't expect. And I always talk about eclipse seasons. Like every time we come towards one, I'm like, I've got this shit figured out. And then they happen. I'm like, no, I didn't.
Not what I thought it was.
It's not what I thought.
But I love those realizations.
We'll know more when we get in them. But the first one's it's a lunar eclipse on January 31st, 11 degrees Leo. We'll see when we get there, but I think it's going to be a progress report on whether or not you found your joy from the solar eclipse, last eclipse season in Leo. And if it's a lunar eclipse, it makes us feel differently about something and probably makes us feel insecure. So a lot of people are probably going to look up and go, actually, this is a lie. I'm not happy with this at all. Or I'm mortgaging my happiness for some time in the future and I can't do it anymore. That kind of stuff. February 15th will be 27 Aquarius. That'll be sextiling into the galactic center. My opinion, and I could be wrong, my opinion is there's something about this new moon in Capricorn that's going to trigger something that makes us want to really invest ourselves in building webs together, make us want to join together and find tribe and find our common purpose. That's what's going to happen at the Aquarius solar eclipse on February 15th. Solar eclipses are like defibrillators on our ego. It goes boom. And we were like, oh shit, I'm a new person. And then we'll be out of the eclipse window at the full moon. Yeah, the full moon at 11 Virgo, 2 weeks after that. So the way that I treat eclipse seasons, including now as we're on the doorstep of them, is pay attention to everything that's happening. Everything, every conversation you have, every delayed letter, every email that you accidentally got and it was meant for somebody else, every message that you get that you weren't expecting, every occurrence, every epiphany, every emotion. If suddenly you're like, I don't trust that person anymore. Okay, why? Don't look away. Why?
Right. Dig deeper.
It's happening on purpose. Why? Look at everything as why. And sometimes I go all the way into, why am I buying this cereal? And sometimes it's because you're hungry, okay? But sometimes other times it's because you're meant to be in a conversation with the person who's on that aisle. Pay attention to everything. And that would start now and would go all the way until the Virgo full moon after the eclipses. Have you had that experience where things pop up during this window where it's like, wow, everything means something?
Yes. Everything. And everything happens. Like whatever can happen happens in that window, and it's really waking us up to being to it's always showing us something. It's always pointing at something. I'm looking at the chat.
Matthew's talking about never underestimate the power of procrastination, because it'll just happen.
I don't.
You're like, I don't at all. I love it.
Quite the rush. Thank you. Yeah. It's and there's, gosh, there's so much. See, I'm reading Molly. Hi, Molly. I love Molly. I'm reading Molly's comment too, and a lot of people are feeling that too, where they're feeling like and it goes right into what I was saying earlier. They're quitting. Being forced to quit their jobs, or forced to leave their jobs and stuff like that. Guys, there are like complete breakdowns happening in society, and you are being called to play a role. And for some people, it's showing up that way, where it's kind of like, okay, it's time. It's go time. You're about to be sent off. And I know Molly, so I know that she happens to have a business as well, and she's been doing both for a while. So it's just kind of like, it's time.
Yeah, I've been talking with people for about at least the last year of, if these energies start pushing your life in ways that you're like, I'm not ready. Yeah, you are. Okay. Because it's for a reason. If you get pushed out of a job, if you get pushed out of a relationship, if you get pushed into moving somewhere, it's because you're not where you need to be. And these are really big energies. These are the outer planets that are changing signs. And when they say, listen, it's time, move your ass, you better go. And I'm not saying that in trying to diminish the stress of doing that. I did it myself in May. The energies were like, Susan, you're leaving your corporate job today. And I couldn't move. I had to do it. And I've been like, like having to really believe in myself ever since then. But it happens.
Well, and here's the thing, and I keep telling people these things, and this goes to everything, not just leaving a position that you feel like you have to leave, but just in anything like this, when it comes to this fear. There is magic and purpose in that moment where you defy your fear and take a leap and you get caught by that invisible net.
Yep.
You will never be the same after that, because you are starting to understand, holy shit, I really am supported. Mm-hmm. We can talk day in and day out about we're supported, we're divinely supported, we're divinely supported. But that becomes real. That becomes real in the moment where you allow it to manifest itself, because it's so cool and pretty to be like, we're divinely supported, when you've got plan B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
How about when you have to leap?
How about when you have to leap and there is no plan B, C, D, E, F, G? You know what I'm saying?
And you have no example of how it's been done before.
Because you're the first. Because it's your job.
We're getting into territory where you have not seen this before.
Exactly.
And you can't worry about what's been done before. I say all the time, if it's already been done, it's already dead.
Yep.
Period.
Mm-hmm. As someone who does.
If it's already been done, it's already dead. Believe it.
Yep.
Open your eyes. I promise you, if you're trying to repeat what's already been done, it ain't going to work. You are not supported in that.
That is one of the biggest conversations. That is one of the most common conversation I have with people, right? Due to the nature of what I do, is right there when they're up leveling, when they're shifting up, when they're shifting into their purpose, when they're ready to launch their business, whatever the case, whatever it is that we're working on with the person. I feel like that doesn't make sense. I feel like, who does that? You do.
You do.
You do it.
And and let's talk about that. When you start going out on your own, first of all, everybody says, I'm going to fall down. Yep. Common feeling. Do it anyway. Right.
Yeah.
And what if it's a mistake? Well, you're still going to be fine because you have sovereignty. Remember, because you're present. Remember, because you're guided. Remember, because you're trusting the greater force of life. Remember, you're going to be fine. Go.
Because every step of the way is still leading you there. Remember? Like, that's probably my biggest thing. Like, if I look back, I've had some failures.
Haven't we all?
Legit. Like,
yeah.
I look back at each and every, call it a failure or call it like a redirection, if you will, where I kind of like, I don't know why I did that. Like, but right? Like, no fucking idea. What was I doing that? But then you look down the road and you're just like, holy shit. When I did that, I learned this that I'm doing now in a different way, and it works. And had I not gone through that, I'd have no fucking idea how to handle this right now.
Right.
And it's so freaking awesome how life sets you up that way.
Right.
Awesome.
The other thing that happens when people are leaping, we've been there, and a lot of clients are saying it too, is, who do I think I am? Or who am I to do this? Or who am I to go against what everybody else thinks?
Susan fucking Grace.
You're you. Let's go. We need to hear from you. If you know of a new way, show it to us.
Yep.
I mean, you're not asking for permission. You're not asking for permission. We have to get out of that. We have to get out of, I can only do what I have permission to do.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying go steal cars. Okay. I'm just saying, like,
hey, if you feel like your calling is meth, the answer's no.
No meth, no cars. I'm saying like whenever, like, I'll just use mine as an example. I'm not trying to make this about me, but whenever, like, I was vice president for 18 years in corporate America. And then I left. I mean, I just walked out.
Straight up just walked out.
I couldn't do it anymore. It was killing me. Who do I think I am? I would not have a leg to stand on. I would be completely out of integrity if I was sitting here talking about new paradigm and I was still profiting off of the old, even though it was killing me. Letting it kill me and profit off of it while I'm trying to say, let's step into new paradigm. I couldn't go another step further. I had to do it, not with no guarantee, with no permission. I still wake up trying to unbrainwash myself and thinking that if I'm outside of my unlocked cage, I'm going to die. I'm not going to die. I'm fine. We've been told something for so long that we've forgotten how to live. We're being exploited for our labor and our consumption, and our labor and our consumption, and our labor and our consumption. It's so that we won't protest being in a fucking cage. If we'll step outside of being used for our labor and for our consumption and know that we're free, Galactic Center, Sagittarius, your beliefs dictate the world you live in. If you actually believe you're free and you can follow follow the call of your name, even though it's never been done before, the whole world is going to change.
Of course.
The whole world.
Mm-hmm. And we're stepping into that power. And this year it's not even calling our name anymore. It's like straight up, like it's yelling. It's like,
it's yelling. I went through it where they're like, we're not asking you, Susan, we're telling you, you can't do this anymore.
Yep.
And I finally had to just give in.
Down, you're going to listen and you're going to take care of what you have to take care of in order to make it happen for yourself.
Man, I've tried to fight these. So Saturn and Pluto in the same sign, right? I have tried to fight Saturn and Pluto before. Whenever Saturn was in Scorpio and Pluto was in Capricorn, they were in mutual reception with each other's signs. I fought with all my might. I fought for a year and I was on the fucking concrete with that shit. These energies don't give a shit if you don't feel like it. If you're like, I don't want to, they're like, that's cute. You're doing it anyway. And they don't care. Mm-hmm. And you want that. I've learned to say, sir, yes, sir. Okay. Because they know what they're doing. They're putting you on track. This is whenever we say we're being guided, here it is. It's actual energy. It's actual it's in actual triggers and changing the world. Listen, you need to go over here. Be like, okay, don't go, I don't want to. Well, too bad. You're going anyway. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I've also tried to sit these out. I've tried to say, I'm just going to sit this one out. I'm not doing this one. Again, that's cute. Yeah, you are. You can fight it, or you can think that they're going to forget about you, and it's not true. These planets, these energies are coming. They're coming because they're not giving up on you. And whenever I say that what's meant for you is not giving up on you, I mean it. What's meant for you is not giving up on you.
No, the fuck it's not. And
I think people can give up for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, please. And I think people see this as if we're like, standing here and then there's like a bunch of things pushing us. And what we don't realize, it's not much that as much as it is that you're already standing on a moving walkway. That's what it is.
Oh,
you're already standing on a moving walkway. You're not being pushed down a hallway. No, it's a moving walkway. You're already on it, bitch. So whether you want to throw yourself in a tantrum, roll around on the floor, turn around and walk the other way, you're still on the moving walkway.
Can you imagine rolling around on one?
No. You're just rolling. And the thing's still going.
Oh my God.
It's a moving walkway.
Now I'm going to want to do that next time I'm in an airport.
Yes. Please take a video. Just start walking backwards on it and see how far you get.
I'm not doing this. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not doing this. No.
Literally in the same place.
Oh my God. I'm going to do it.
True story.
Anyway.
Queen of analogies, I know. Legit. Yeah, but that's what it is. Like, no, you're not being like shoved down a hallway. You're not being bullied. You're just on this ride that you're not acknowledging. You're really not acknowledging it.
That's true. I mean, I tend to see it as a stronger force, but that's just because I've been arguing with them for so long. I've been arguing with the energies for so long that they've really kicked my ass, but it doesn't have to be that hard.
Susan's looking at the floor like, what are you moving? The floor is like, I'm just doing what I do.
Nobody asked me. Nobody asked me
to be on this walkway. Yes.
How are you feeling about the new moon? Let's pull back. How do you feel about today? New moon today.
Today.
Does it feel big?
It does. It feels big. It feels, however, I have spent the last couple of weeks just like exhausted. And I did wake up today with like, okay, let's do this. Like, okay. So it does feel a little lighter for me. But that could also just be that I got up and I started walking on the moving walkway.
Yeah. I'm feeling stronger today. I've been the same way. I've been just wiped out, overwhelmed, emotional.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that we've been doing this long enough. We know that it passes, but having to be like, what is going on? And again, I want to reiterate again, in case anybody has joined, if you've got a lot of water in your chart, you need to practice whenever it feels like, why am I so wiped out? It may not have anything to do with you. You may be picking up on energies in the collective. And if you feel like you need to rest, you go rest. If you need to eat, go eat. If you need water, drink water. Give yourself what you need first. Because our number one job here is to maintain our own energy and work on our own evolution. And then any kind of ripple effect is bonus.
Yep, exactly. This is the year for that. You know, I fought against launching the mentorship. That was me throwing myself on the walkway. Huh?
Why?
So for a while, I was just like, really? Like, I'm like, Darling's going to do a mentorship for who the hell? And I went through that.
Everyone goes through it. Yeah.
Who the hell is going to want to talk to me once a month the whole year? And however, I mean, as much as I was like feeling that way, it was some days I feel like I have like something where I'm just like talking to myself a lot. And I'm just like,
you mean Moon and Gemini? Moon and Gemini?
My Moon and Gemini. And so I'll just sit there and I'm just like, I don't know who. And then I'd be like, seriously? And then I'm just like, yeah, no, for real. I'm glad I haven't gone through like a mental evaluation, because they'd be like, medication, like today. But no, I went through that where I'm just like, but then it really kicked in. Like I started paying attention and I started listening, and I'm just like, and this is why I became so passionate about the year, because I had a sit down. Like they sat me down and just like, you don't understand. Like you don't understand that people are really everybody as a collective. The only, like, not, I wouldn't say the only, but the one thing I know that is happening across the board collectively is that we're being asked to level up. We're being asked to shift up, and it's a very personal experience.
It's personal.
So while normally I have something like self-alchemy, where it's like, okay, this group is specifically to alchemize our stories and our pasts and discover this and all of that, which is phenomenal and still my signature and favorite program ever, I needed something that says, no, your life dictates what this program is about. It's one-on-one, and we talk about what the hell you need to master for this whole year, because it's that important. It's that important. People need to be placed in the roles that they need to be placed, and they need to be able to perform there and trust themselves and the greater force.
And I think trust the door you're standing in front of. Like I was saying, if the door, if there's two doors for the eclipses, right? And then we're standing at the doorstep. Trust the door that's in front of you. Trust the door that's in front of you. It's okay. Mm-hmm. Remember Pluto and Virgo, we have presence. Pluto and Libra, we have sovereignty and sacred union with each other. Pluto and Scorpio, we're going to maintain our boundaries and be willing to look at the truth. We're fine. We're set up well. Trust the door that's in front of you. It's fine.
Yes, absolutely.
What you got going?
Who, me?
Yeah, services.
So there's that mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Mastering the Self 2018. And I'm so excited about it because I am too. I have so much heart into this. Mm-hmm. It's pretty awesome. So you know, of course there's a Facebook group, and you get in the Facebook group where you get, more access to me. You get a weekly audio from me delivered like on the spot. So it's not pre-recorded or anything like that. You have a video for me every single month as well that kind of guides through the month. And you also have a one-on-one 90-minute session with me every month. And so that's where we go into your life. And that's when we talk about like what's going on, what do we have, and all of this to help you master what you need to be, right? So 90-minute session, which includes theta healing, intuitive guidance, the whole nine.
Which theta healing, I got a theta healing from you, and like this is legit healing. Like I was like, oh, wow, I just got healed.
It was like 15 minutes of it too.
Yeah.
You're like, I have to go pick up Sam. I'm like, give me 10 minutes.
I got this.
10 minutes. Just need 10 minutes from you. Yeah. And I am in love with that modality. So I use it often. So, you know, it includes the theta healing. And it includes a lot of access to what I'm doing. Like it's really, the way I can explain it is, let me hold your hand and let's walk through this together. Mm-hmm. So if something's happening, if a moon is here and I feel like I'm doing a particular ritual, I'm going to tell you, here's the ritual I'm doing. You're going to get an email that says, here's what I'm doing. Do it with me, or let's do it together. So it's a program that's for that. So that's on my website, xoxdarling.com/MTS, if you want to go look at that specifically. I've launched the theta healing individual sessions. My intuitive sessions are still there, single sessions, and you can get the blend of the two for 90 minutes. And there's couples. That's new for me. I've been, you know, I do that, right? Mm-hmm. Like with people in general. But it's actually a service that's on my website that I offer now, and you can get an individual couple session. Or I actually do premarital healings, pre-union healings. So before you move in, before you get married, or before you have a ceremony, I have found it so important to deal with your own individual stuff before you unite. And so kind of before you up level in your relationship status, making sure that everything is kind of aligned there. So that's a new offering that's super awesome. And then you still have my self alchemy that I will never drop. And you can find all of that. Wednesdays, you have Truth and Tea with me. So my videos are coming out now
on Facebook
every week. Yep. You can find them on Facebook or my YouTube channel. The link is on my website. So tons of offerings this year from me. I'm really excited.
I love it.
Thanks. What do you have going? And I want to do something. This is the first time I bring it up to you in public with everybody.
It's a yes.
That's our nature, right? But I'd like to do something that blends your intensives with my mastery.
Okay, cool.
So maybe for your intensive clients, they get a discount on my mastery.
That'd be awesome.
So they can have us both.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
that's a great idea. So SusanGrace.org, obviously I do natal chart readings and tune-ups. I call tune-ups like whenever people have already had a natal chart reading with me, but they've hit a wall and we need to get them caught up on the transits that they've hit a wall against. So those two are on there, but also I just decided when we came on, I'm going to do 20% off of intensives from today, from the new moon today to the full moon after the eclipses. So it's a month. And that'll end March 1st. So during the eclipse season, all intensives, 20% off. Last time I did a sale on intensives, I was booked solid for 3 months. And we waitlisted too. So, get it while you can. I think this week is almost full. And then people who recur with me, you know who you are. People who keep renewing their intensives with me, been doing it for years. Grab your next bundle during the sale, so you're not paying full price. And then of course we're going to be walking everybody through the eclipses as we go, right? On Facebook and Instagram, both of us.
Yep.
We're not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere. We'll be doing these pop-ups too. Big deal. Guys, on Facebook, please go to our pages, our personal pages, or our actual like fan pages, wherever you want to go, and go to the following button and put see first. I'm feeling like I have to tell everybody this. Join our newsletters, Susan's newsletter, my newsletter. I feel like Facebook and social media is just so wonky these days, where we're no longer getting access to each other as much as we would. So we have to like be proactive about staying connected.
Specifically say, this is who I want to see. Yeah.
Right. Specifically be like, this is what I want to see. We want to keep being there for you guys. And we want to show up, but we, don't want to have you guys not get what we have when we show up. So, so these, especially these, since they're pop-ups, they happen kind of out of the blue for you. You won't miss it if you see us first in the thing. So,
and sorry about see first. I just remembered you'll need a discount code for the sale that I just mentioned. I'm going to post that on Facebook and Instagram. There'll be a discount code on there. So follow me.
Go look.
I love being with you. Thanks to everybody who is here live, and also everybody who's here for the recording. The recording people, all time is happening now. We feel you guys too.
Absolutely.
And we'll do another pop-up whenever things shift.
Yes. We'll talk later. Bye.
Bye.